What up, Facebook, YouTube? How you doing? I have a show today. I think everybody's going to really enjoy. What I try to do every Wednesday at noon. You know it. I come here to bring you everything about real estate. It is a your live show, right? So your live talk show about real estate, and it's a place where you can come in at any time and consult us and ask us questions. You can join the theme and chip in, support, or just come on in and I don't know, just throw the them thing. You know what I mean? Just make it look bad. It's up to you. But we're here to entertain and educate you. And as you know, I tried every week to bring a special guest. This week's guest, he is a veteran, a Marine, and I think he's going to be awesome for the show. Super smart guy, Jake. Say hello. How you doing?
Hey, how you doing, visitors and guests of the John's podcast?
Appreciate it, Jake. Brother, it's been some time. We don't actually stay face to face, right? What do you think? Maybe 5 years? 5 years that you've been gone
Yeah,
from
but yeah, 5 years, I'd say.
about 5 years. Yeah, I'll tell you a little bit about Jake and I. He came from out of town. He was originally from the north and came to Houston and found me somehow. I think his wife found me online and obviously to use my services. So this is actually to this day still one of my best clients, man. This guy rented a house, bought a house, sold a house. And when he sold the house, he left a bunch of things for me, a lot of treats. I remember that. Jake, that was quite nice of you to leave all the stuff, man. If I haven't thanked you, this is it. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. This is about the 50th time you thanked me, but I thank you for taking all of this stuff and not charging me a moving fee on it.
Oh, well, there you go. Well, that's. I guess that was a good trade-off in that case. I haven't thought of that yet. Maybe I should charge you. I'm just kidding.
I think
But
something happened to my voice here. Can't hear your.
it's okay. I can hear you.
Can you hear me? Because I can't hear you.
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you. Well, so while you work on that, you maybe want to try some headphones. Plug in headphones quick. But I want to go ahead um, and start by just sharing some stats. So the show today is about home defense. And I think you guys are going to be pretty interested in what I have to show here. Maybe some of these stuff you can maybe go online, but I'm going to put our own opinion, our own spin to it. I'm going to showcase some of the weapons that we're going to be talking about today, which is going to be pretty interesting. Jake, can you still not hear me?
No, I got you back.
Oh man, appreciate it. Okay, cool. So, like I was saying, Jake, let me introduce you a little bit to the guests, okay, to the viewers. So you are a Marine, correct? A veteran?
Yes, a veteran.
Yeah. How many tours did you do?
I didn't do any tours in Iraq. I was stationed in Iwakuni, Japan for 2 years. I was air wing, so my tours of duty didn't have any wartime situations going on. Still
Oh,
trained like we were going to war, but as best you could with a bunch of guys in the air wing, not
right.
not infantry running around shooting stuff up in Iraq.
Just training and wasting bullets.
Uh, yeah,
I mean, in a way, right?
yeah, pretty
a lot
much.
of a lot of brass, a lot of copper, bam. You
Well,
know,
yeah, yeah. For what we had, it was going. We were actually transitioning from actual live rounds to simulators, so it was pretty interesting getting simulated environments versus actually shooting on a range.
That's pretty interesting. But you
Yeah.
did have, you've gone through a lot of training and you had access to different weapons, right?
Oh, sure. Sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I must say here that by all means, I have no experience to enough experience to really teach anyone here how to defend your home. To be honest with you, I'm not a weapons expert, although I do have training. I have tactical training that I like to do it for my own amusement. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it very much. And so far I've done pistols and I did the rifle training. So I'm looking forward to the shotgun training. This guy is pretty cool. He's a Navy SEAL. Um, Takes us out in the boonies and he just teaches us how to work the weapon and shoot so every year me and the team like to do that. The real estate team we like to maybe book it for some of our associates and I'll come out there and just shoot, you know.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And I got to say, man, I'm going to read something here pretty interesting. And again, I want to repeat one more time. I'm not, Facebook is open for 13-year-olds to go on and have an account. Okay. So this episode is really not for children. So if you're listening up right now, please turn off. If your children is watching this, be cautious. I don't think this is going to be really that bad, but I don't want to get in trouble for showing stuff that maybe children don't want to see, okay, or their parents don't want to see it. And that's pretty much it. But anyways, man, I gotta say, do you know that 1 out of 5 homes, okay, okay, 1 out of 5 homes will experience some kind of home invasion or a break in at some point.
Is that sir
Yeah,
nationwide?
nationwide. According to an official statistic from the U.S. Department of Justice, 60% of rapes and 38% of assaults occur during or in the aftermath of a home invasion. Okay, so what is most people do? Most people don't have cameras in their homes. Most people may be aware that there are crimes out there, but not aware that could happen in their own home, or at least they hope, they pray for it, and often they are not protected in any way possible. This happens very often, guys. Most of the people. So and then of course in the last, I'd say probably in the last 5 years or so, maybe even more. The whole wireless camera came to town, and all products came where it's so easy for you now to self-install them. So I think we've been seeing where more and more families are deciding to go with the camera route, okay, as a form of protection. Alarm systems being ultimately the one that deters the most burglaries in your home, still not effectively being used by everyone. Okay, so those things are something to be aware of. So whenever whenever you think about burglary, you think you're not being in the house, right? But often when your home is being burglarized, what happens is you walk in while someone is burglarizing your house, if I'm pronouncing that word right. And that's when things can get a little bit scary, and it's something you don't want to do. As a matter of fact, I wanted to make this show as much educational as possible. So I want to go through a few scenarios here, Jake. All right. So the most common thing that happens is you being followed. Okay. You are at Walmart. You're shopping, and there's someone there that's really not there to buy anything. Okay. And or if they were buying something, they took an opportunity to see what you're carrying on your bag, and they see how you're dressed, what kind of shoes you're wearing. They target you as a potential person that lives in a home and have good things, good good articles that they can take away from you. So what they do is they follow you home. Okay. So I mean, I've already told my wife, particularly, every time you walk away out of a supermarket, a Walmart, particularly a Walmart, where all the pickpockets are usually out, in. I say, hey, look at your rear view mirror prior to entering your subdivision. Keep an eye on who is behind you. I know it's dark time. It's nighttime. You don't want to be that kind of paranoid person, and you're not ever looking back because God is on their side. And nothing is going to happen. Mm, okay. Well, here's what's going to happen. One of these days, you can be that target. And what he's going to do is likely park in front of your house and watch you for days before he decides to come in. He's going to learn everything about you. He's going to be watching you. He's going to see what time you get in, what time you get out. If you have children, if you don't have children, do you have dogs? Does he see whether you have an alarm system or not? So those things can happen. Jake, am I off base here with this scenario?
Um, I'd say no, no. Sounds more like a professional job versus someone that's hard up on money and needs to hit the needle and, you know, is going to take the first opportunity that they see. So I guess it depends on who the assailant is, because, you have your other assailants where it's a crime of opportunity versus somebody that, like you're saying, is methodically studying everything that's going on. So, and in that situation, I would tend to think that the more dangerous individual would be the individual that is acting out of spontaneity, not the guy that's casing the joint, because he'd much rather take your belongings when you're not in the house, if that's what his intent is, to steal from you, versus the other guy who's there, who isn't making rational decisions as it is and isn't in the right state of mind. That's the guy I'd be more worried about as far as being attacked or putting my life at risk. But in the event, let's say you have your security cameras or whatever, there's a guy outside casing your home, you're obviously he's not going to want to be seen. So maybe he doesn't park in the same spot every day. Maybe he's across the street one day, on the same side of the street the next. Maybe the next day he's walking down the street, not in a vehicle, and his vehicle is further down the way.
Right.
But yeah, no, the gist of it, no, it makes sense as far as, scenario number one, the professional burglar versus the guy that's trying to just get what he can to fix his issues at the time.
Right. And cameras are definitely something that's useful, but we still, even with cameras, I've read that only 13% of the cases are actually solved by the police. So even with the cameras, you know what I mean? So and within that statistics, I feel like it's pretty low and likely to one of these days endanger you. I mean, the big question here, um, Jake, that I've asked myself several times in the past is whether should someone have a weapon to defend themselves in case their home gets invaded while they're in it or walking into the house, whether you should carry a weapon or not. And the answer that I come to is it's something I wanted to share to everybody, that I think for the most part you should not carry a weapon if you don't know how to use it.
Oh, I agree with that 100%. If you're going to get any item for self-defense, whether it be a gun, a taser, pepper spray, whatever it may be, you should always be properly trained and continue training using whatever whatever item you have for self-defense. And the reason why is because when you get into a situation and your adrenaline starts pumping, muscle memory tends to kick in, and you need to be able to repeat those actions you were trained on in order to successfully deter anybody from attacking you.
And not hurt yourself or a family member on the process.
Right.
That could be pretty interesting. So, okay. So, and then let's say a scenario, you live in a neighborhood where, you know, and I don't want to sound, I don't want to say, well, I'm going to say it. Let's say you live in the ghetto. Okay. And honestly, you see a lot of the first sign of living in an area where crime is high. You see burglary bars in the windows, and you see burglary bars on the doors, and then to me, I feel like burglary bars not only makes the community look terrible, but I feel sometimes that that type of deterrent is unsafe in some ways. You know, they have a tendency of not carrying a quick, you know, a quick deadbolt that you can open and close, obviously, because you need keys on both ways. And in some ways, you're locked inside a box. You're caged in. What if
What
there's
happens
a
when your
fire?
house? Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? So what if there is a fire? And honestly, I always say that, you know, I would prefer somebody to go in and out and get my whatever they want from my house and leave. You know, yeah, take whatever you want, you know, before I endanger myself and my family. So the burglary bars, okay, it's gonna keep you safe during the nighttime, I guess. You know what I mean? But you know, somebody can easily push you out of that house. You know, I'm just thinking here, if I wanted to break into somebody's house that had a cage, what would I do? I would probably put fire in that house and wait for them to run out of the house.
I guess, you know, in that instance, so if you're living in the ghetto and, you know, and you're worried about that, you'd have to ask yourself, what makes me stand out from my neighbors that makes them want to burglarize my home versus the next one over? I mean, if you're going to live in an area like that, you're going to have to fit in. You're going to have to drive a beater. You're going to have to dress normal. You can't wear $2,000 or $3,000 suits or really high-end clothing or anything like that. You can't, I mean, if you're going to live in the ghetto, make sure that you're prepared to
Right.
in.
You're absolutely right, because you know, one time I've shown a house that was for sale, okay? And the moment I stopped in front of that house, my man, this thing had like literally right in front of you, like 6 cameras. Okay. Every angle you can think of, this thing had cameras on and burglar bars. And then come to find out, when I walk in, this guy converted half of the house into a safe. And I'm assuming at that point, because of the peggy boards and the markings on the walls, this guy had he either sold weapons or he was a weapon collector or some sort. I mean, this thing had a safe door. It was quite a safe, man. It was huge.
You
But
get that guy's phone number, he sounds like he's cool to hang out with.
he sound absolutely. I agree with you. But even inside the house, looked like it had a whole lot of cameras also. So this guy was, you know, had all kinds of deterrents you can imagine. But you can tell. My point is that you could tell from outside that this guy was protecting something. He was standing out on the crowd.
Right. And if his home never got burglarized, obviously people knew not to go near that home.
That's right. I mean, maybe that's it. I mean, at one point or the other, you kind of find out. You know, this guy. Do you want to rob somebody that carries weapons? That has weapons in every room of that house.
It's like
and
that movie. It's like that movie Gone in 60 Seconds where they steal the Cadillac and then go bring it back because
Bring it right back. Exactly. Exactly. So, and that's actually a big political question. It happens quite a bit. You know, I mean, the states that don't allow you to carry or doesn't have the castle doctile, you know,
oh, you're talking
where
about the state I live in.
the state of you live in. That's right. That's right. That's may I say what state you live in?
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, so state of Illinois have pretty tough gun laws, you know, and it's been the question here whether you know for some time, um, you know, you're going to likely want to rob a house that you know there's no weapons in it, you know. So if you have a state that have tough laws that don't allow you to carry a weapon inside your home, you know, you're likely not going to have a weapon. If you do, you know, you're doing it without a license, without a permit, and it could be just as fault as the perpetrator. So, if I know there's no weapons in your house, Jake, and I have one, I feel more empowered here in that situation,
Well,
right?
that's a big thing that goes on in the city of Chicago. I mean, they they boost or they talk about the crime rates and all of the shootings that go on, and they always make the excuse of it's because we have too many guns on the street. Well, guess what? There's always going to be guns on the street because that's the culture that has evolved there. There's going to be guns, there's going to be shootings. If you want the problem to go away, raise your damn kids right.
There you go. That
Yeah.
is at the end of the day is man. You hit the nail in the head, man. Because I'm a firm believer on the education part of it as well. You know, a lot of times, you know, criminals are coming from broken families. You know, and with those broken families, you're usually missing a father figure, somebody that's really teaching you the right ways to fit among society, you know, and strive. That happens quite a bit, and it's unfortunate. Um, and often enough, it happens in the lower income communities, and that's where the criminals come out from. But I'm not going to say 100%. I don't want to generalize anything. I think, in a way, we see criminals in any communities. You know,
Oh, absolutely.
it
And
doesn't
it all
matter.
just depends on the intent. So,
Right. It doesn't matter where you're from, really. You know, when if you have that sick mind, it doesn't matter whether you were raised well or by good parents. You know, but it's a lesser thing, I think, in a way, right? It's a lesser thing. So I'm just going to show a few stats here real quick to jump on to a couple of good things here that I want to kind of share. Some insight that I found online by the zebra.com website. Let me pop it up here real quick. Can you see the screen there?
yep.
Okay, cool. So by zebra.com, this article came out July 8th, 2021. And he's showing us some key insights and statistics. It says homes without a security systems are 300% more likely to be broken into and burglarized. And that's they collected those statistics from alarms.org. 46.9% of people don't have a home security system installed in their home by the Zebra. 83% of would-be burglars check for the presence of an alarm system before attempting a break-in. 83%. See, they're aware that that's a huge problem for them to break in your home with an alarm system. Okay, 34% of burglars use the front door when breaking into a home. That's a little odd. 34%. Okay, so that means that everybody else breaking through, you know, here in Houston, big one is the bathroom window. They break in through there. It's a big old, I don't know what the size is, but it's huge.
Don't they
Bathroom
call
window.
those garden windows or something like that?
Yeah, those they're typically not double pane, I don't think, or if they are, they're like they're they're thinner. I don't know, they're weird, but they break into there. Um, and I guess if you're not within the 34%, you're breaking through either window or a door or a back door, I
Right.
guess,
And
right?
the thing is with your windows, so I mean, I guess just depending on how new they are, what security features they have in them. So like the windows, especially going to my basement, which here in Illinois, it's commonplace to have a basement. Real easy to get into. All you got to do is take a screwdriver and kind of jimmy the lock a little bit, and then you can actually unlock the windows. So you always want to. What I did with mine is I just cut some pine 2x4s to size to fit into the windows, kind of like the sliding glass door on a patio where you just block it so it can't get slid open. I do the same thing with my basement windows as well. So at least then they have to break the glass to get in.
I couldn't agree more. That's that there are, I always say to my folks that I work with and friends and family that if somebody wants to rob you, they're going to. It doesn't matter how many deterrents you have. They're going to figure it out a way to go around. They're going to at least try. If they want it really that bad, if they think that you have something of value for them to take, and they want it, doesn't matter whether you have an alarm system. It doesn't matter if you have cameras in your house. It's going to happen, and it can happen one day or the other. Okay,
Right.
it's just
That's
a matter of time.
yeah, and that goes back to you know, fitting in with your surroundings and, just be unassuming. Obviously, it's one thing if you get off of work and let's say you're a VP somewhere and it's a requirement to dress nice. You go into Walmart dressing nice, you run in and grab something and somebody follows you. That's one thing, but don't get dressed to the nines to go grocery shopping at Walmart.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, I think the biggest issue, and coming from Brazil, which is a pretty dangerous place to be sometimes in some areas or most areas, I guess. I'm not sure. Like from Rio de Janeiro, for instance, man, you don't go to the beach wearing your gold necklace. You're like asking to be robbed. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Yeah.
there's always going to be somebody that is really in a really bad position, and the only thing they have left is crime, the petty theft. Problem is that it's gotten really bad. It's gotten worse for the fact that we have now facial recognition going on, and quite often that made things a little bit worse, to be honest with you, because I've heard of a lot of incidents in Brazil, for instance, where if I'm going to be recognized, I am just going to kill you. You see what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
it's just like those gangster movies you see sometimes where if you see my face, you're dead, right? So therefore, that's why. So if we walk into a room and I'm wearing a mask, that means I have no intent to kill you. You know what I mean? So in Brazil, man, they're like shooting you before they even take anything because they're just afraid of being recognized nowadays. You know, and I think they dropped dropped criminality to 16 years old now in Brazil. I think. Don't quote me on that. But now, if you're 16, you got a weapon and you kill somebody, you're gonna be punished like an adult. But anyway, so there are 2.5 million burglaries annually in the United States. 66% of these are home invasions, and that's by the U.S. Department of Justice. Okay, and just in 2020, we had similar stats here. External cameras were listed as the most important feature to having a security to have a security system. 32.3%. Did I read this right? Motion sensors 28% and floodlights 24% or 26% were found to be in the top three most important features. Yeah, and when I did put my alarm system in the house, and for sake of not spending too much money, I had a limited amount of sensors, and I ended up putting a glass break sensor in a couple of rooms. like the bathroom windows. You can, if it ever breaks. And then sometimes my kids, and it works pretty well because sometimes my kids are on the outside of my bedroom. They hit the toilet seat because I don't have soft clothes. They hit the toilet seat and then thing rings because it's just looking for impacts, and loud noise. So it works. So 17.2% of people do not lock their front doors, despite the front door being the access point for 34% of the burglaries. I often find my house sort of unlocked, you know. But what I think my best deterrent here at my house is my dog, Jake.
Yeah, mine too. Mine are just little dogs, but they make a lot of noise. And yeah,
Hey, but how many dogs do you have?
I have two.
Okay, well that's enough to give some trouble to somebody walking in. They're going to be yapping, and I think enough to deter somebody. Like my dog, he's the sweetest thing in the world. I tell you, I don't think he would. He doesn't have a mean bone in his body, right? But he is also a coward and very scared dog. So he barks at anything that walks by my door. so, which, and he's not a small dog. He's a 60-pounder, maybe a little bit more right now, but um he does have a loud bark, and he does look a little bit mean. So I mean, if anybody that's been watching my house, he knows that my dog is at all times in my house, and he barks. I mean, he's going to think about, if he's going to break in with my dog, he's going to have to first get rid of the dog somehow. And then there's an alarm. And then there are cameras. So I guess I'm covered in most of those scenarios there where somebody can, this house might not be the ideal house to get in. And we're not even talking about weapons yet. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I think, like we were saying earlier, uh, try not to be the target. But if you are the target, also show that you are protecting whatever you have inside. You know what I mean? So, and I want to jump into something else here. So, um, I'm going to pull up here. Let's see here. I want to pull up here a page which I have other guys sharing with us a couple of things. Okay. All right. So, do you see the screen here by tacticalhive.com? Here are several testimonials from, well, I guess 14 of America's tactical experts give their take on the best home defense gun. Okay. Before I share everyone else's, I want to hear your opinion here, Jake. You're a Marine, you were trained. And by the way, thank you for your service. I think you made, even though you didn't go to any tours, what you did still made an impact in the world for our own safety, keeping America safe. So I do thank you for your service. What do you think is the best weapon to carry at home for self-defense, if you choose to have a weapon?
Well, number one, the weapon that you're comfortable using. But if you're talking firearms in general, what my opinion is on it, if you're comfortable using it, you know how to shoot it, and you know how to practice safe operations with it. I like a 12 gauge shotgun with double up buck, because you don't have to be accurate with that. You just point in the direction and shoot, as long as there's no family members, as you alluded to earlier, are in that direction as well. At that point, when it comes to home defense, you're not worried about the damage you're doing to the inside of your home. You're worried about protecting yourself and your family from an intruder. And so that's why my opinion is 12 gauge with double up buck, which is a pretty stout ammunition to use with it. They're pretty much small ball bearings. that
Okay. And honestly, I want to go over that a little bit too, more in detail here, because different shot shells, different types of shot shells. This is one of them right here. These got a little balls, little BBs, right? What do they call these, Jake?
What, the BBs that are in there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
What do they
think
call
that's what they
this?
call lead.
Just lead, right? So, but this is a widespread lead here. It is trust me, in close range, this is very effective, but in far range, it has a tendency of spreading, right? So you need to know the difference. If you're going to carry a shotgun, you need to know what you have there. A buckshot, I think in some states, if you have a buckshot, I think they consider a little bit too, what's the right word? Excessive. You know what I mean? If you were ever in a situation where you have to shoot somebody, and by the way, no, I never want to shoot anybody walking in my house, but I will if I have to.
Yeah, but yeah, they do have those home defense rounds that they make for the shotguns where it's like 4 double-aught buck with a deer slug in the middle. So
Okay.
states call it excessive, but I wouldn't want to live there. Maybe there and don't know it.
What are you doing in Illinois then?
Yeah. Well, I have my 12 gauge with my double-aught buck, and I also have I have a 9mm in the bedroom in case if my wife is home and I'm not, and it's got hollow points loaded in it. The reason why it uses hollow points for home defense is so it doesn't go through walls like a full metal jacket would, and then hit somebody on the outside of your house, like go through your walls, keep traveling and hit your neighbors, and then you're in trouble.
Right, and that's another point that I wanted to make. As far as am I not sharing a screen anymore?
I don't see a screen.
Yeah, good. Okay, so you see me. All right. Yeah, and that's the point that I wanted to make also, and I like what you said right from the beginning. First of all, if you choose to have a weapon in your home, you want to make sure that you know what you're doing. Okay, this gun can become unsafe for not just yourself, but your family members. Bullets do travel, so knowing which weapons you're using and how to use that weapon is very, very important. Okay. A lot of times, and I'm a little bit guilty because I'm here from Texas, and I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the flag that a lot of Texans use over here, which is a flag that's been used for centuries. Actually, this flag is seen back in the 480s before Christ, and it's called "Come and Take It." um, which is it's sort of a declaration where it's more of like telling your state and state officials that you're not going to get access to my weapons. Don't even try it, right? So I'm in a state where a lot of homeowners carry weapons, and it's something that I was influenced by. My dad was a weapons expert when he was a younger man. He went competitions and all. So I had a weapon influence my entire life, and I always wanted to have one. And I'm done buying one each. I'm like, okay, so what weapons do do I think is going to be best for home defense? And I said, why not just buy every one of them and train myself on it as well? But one big subject here, though, Jake, that I like your input on, and for everybody to hear here, I think the most important thing people need to realize is whether you have the training, whether you know how to use this weapon, and whether you are keeping that weapon safe from your children. And that's one of the reasons why. There's several reasons where folks say, why am I going to have a weapon? And it sometimes is as silly as, oh, I don't want people to think that I'm over paranoid. But the ones that I feel the most for is the one that I know nothing about weapons. Yes, maybe just handle a bat. You probably be better off with that. Have all the other deterrents with a baseball bat, right? That's a big one for automotives too. A lot of people carry baseball bats in their in their cars. um, but children, how do you keep yourself, your children safe from weapons? What would be your, Jake, your advice for parents that have weapons at home and they have children also?
Well, if the children are old enough to understand and respect the weapons, number one, get your children trained. So just depending on their age. My stepdad, he was a sheriff for county in Florida. He still is. But my little brother, when he was 5, he started explaining to my little brother, this is my service weapon. You never touch it. Here's what it does. And so he would come home and just leave his gun on the counter. And my little brother never played with the thing because he knew what it could do.
Right.
So, I mean, instead of keeping it a big secret from your children that you have a gun, maybe teach them about it and allow them to handle it in a controlled fashion, not loaded or anything, but explain to them what it can do. And if they can shoot it, take them to shoot it and let them see what's going on with it. That'll take a lot of the curiosity out of it that might end up getting themselves, their friends, or anybody else hurt. And then the other thing is, you can put a gun lock on it. Mine are in safes. So the one that's in my dresser, it's in a small fire safe that can't get accessed. All my other guns are in a gun safe in the basement that's always locked. So
That's pretty good advice there. And I've learned the same. And the same, which is, if you're going to carry weapons in your house when there are children, one, you need to make sure that they're aware of how to they're aware that there are weapons in the house, and create sort of an atmosphere that you are educating these children how to perhaps even use it in some cases, right? I don't know if that's against the law at all to take children, your own children, to shoot guns. I know hunting isn't. I see a lot of parents taking kids to hunt and shoot their rifles and stuff.
8
You
and
know what I
9
mean?
years
But
old. Yeah.
what's that?
I said 8 and 9 years old going on their first hunt.
In their first hunt. I see that all the time. And believe me, that those kids will know how to defend themselves whenever, if they're ever found in a situation where they need to. Are they as rational as we are? Sometimes, right? There's plenty irrational adults out there.
Yeah,
So,
true.
isn't it true?
Yeah.
What are you afraid of? If you feel that you're capable enough to educating your children how to, you use a weapon, at least educate them of weapon safety and not touch it. And the other thing, have it on a safe. But I always say, if you're looking at weapons for home defense, you don't want a safe that is far away from you, because you want to be able to wake up at night and be able to have easy access to that weapon. So, there are other safes with quick releases that only you have access to, and that way you can use that weapon in case of home invasion, right? But let me share here some of the thoughts here and some of experts here out there. I love to share some of that, and that's by Tactical Hive. Can you see that, Jake?
Yeah, I can see that.
Okay, very good. So 14 American tactical experts give their take on the best home defense gun. And I'm going to go pretty quick here. So what is the best home defense weapons? It says here, a Glock 17 or 19, an AR-15, a shotgun.
Hang on. How is an AR-15 above a shotgun? AR-15 is a long-range rifle.
Hey, Jake, everybody's going to have their own opinion and their favorite weapons. I think it's all about, like, as you say, what weapon you prefer and which one are you most comfortable with, correct? I mean,
Sure.
at the end of the day, if the guy's been all his life trained and he's a veteran and he's been trained with AR-15s, I would say You probably want to shorten that battle a little bit if you're allowed, and and it may be his preferred, more accurate. I mean, look, man, ARs, man, you should know this, right? I mean, ARs, those things, man, are, I mean, they're real hard to break. They're real hard to like fail. You know what I mean? I think shotguns too, as
Yeah.
opposed to pistols.
Well,
Uh,
shotgun's a little cheaper too.
and it is cheaper. That is correct. That is correct. But anyways, here a Glock 21, an FN 409 tactical. The gun you choose, the gun you shoot the bass. It says here, look look. There you go.
Yeah.
I guess right. But hold on a second. Alex, she's a woman. She's a maritime security response team operator, first female to qualify on a direct action section. She says my go-to weapon would be a Glock with a hollow point round. A pistol is always a go-to weapon to keep in the house, in the home. You see? She prefers, and then there's a complete thing about it too. If you guys go to tacticalhive.com, you can get all the stuff there that she talks about. Okay. But, anyways, Bill Rapier, retired Navy SEAL, several years with SEAL Team 314 as a Naval Special Wear Development Group, says, I recommend a Glock 17 with the Surefire XC1B and an AR pistol. See, short barrel ARs right there. Scout Light. Yeah, I mean, the light, man. I want to say the light. I think the light is pretty cool to have in your shotgun. Do you have a light on your shotgun, a tactical light on yours?
No, on my handguns, I actually have tactical rails on them, but I've never put anything
You
on.
put a one in there. Because if you're in dark time, of course, you don't want to light it up right away. But if you see somebody lighting up that light in their face, might
Yeah.
be the really a good way to kind of blind them for a second, right?
Oh, absolutely. I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I've just never done it. And
Okay.
yeah.
Well, hold on. Dan Brokos, retired Army Special Forces Sergeant Major. It says my choice is the most universal handgun in the world. The Glock 19. I'm going to unshare the screen here real quick because I like that. Well, by the way, I said on my previous announcements that I was going to show my weapons. And, man, I find this weapon here to be the most versatile weapon out there. Not only that, and I want to hear your thoughts on this. Their Glock are proud for their the being it where they have the least amount of parts made in here. So they say, less parts, less components, failure, right? So this one here is made out of 34 parts in total, which is significantly less than the competition out there. But anyway, so this one here does not have, it's unloaded, as you can see. Unloaded. But I carry the 9mm with a hollow point on it. And I got to tell you, I'm going to show you here real quick a little bit about it. If you were to choose a weapon to carry in your home for home defense, you want to know about what you're purchasing out there. So the G19, the all-around talent, very diversified. It's really made very small, Jake. It's quite small, but you still can fit a 15-round magazine on it. Very small, very light. Not lighter than a lot of weapons out there, to be honest with you. But man, this thing feels really, really, really good. And it's small. So it can be a service weapon. It could be a concealed weapon. Okay? And as a matter of fact, my tactical training, I did it with this one over here. I think I shot 600 rounds out of it with this one here. But anyways, so here's the technical data on it. 9 mil, right? System safe action. Magazines up to 15. You got optional magazines that can carry more. The barrel length is 102. Look, 21 ounces without the magazine and 23. That's not bad at all. The trigger pull, I had to change my trigger pull here the other day. I asked for it. I think I needed a little bit more action. And the next thing I'm going to do it on this one here is to change the magazine release button. It's too small for me to do it one hand. Sometimes I kind of have to push the hand. Like when I'm in a tactical situation, I want to change the magazine. It's real hard for me to actually hit that button with my hands. So I'm thinking about making it bigger. Okay. Um, what are your comments? Do you like this weapon, Jake?
I've I don't think I've ever shot one of those. I'm pretty biased towards handguns. I really enjoy Springfield Armory. I've never had any issues with those. I've never had them jam up. I have an XDM 9mm, an XDM 40, and a 1911 loaded edition. Never had any issues with them. They shoot really accurately. They're high capacity magazines. My 40 holds 16 rounds. My 9mm holds 19 rounds. Real easy to shoot. They're real easy to conceal. I can't really say anything bad about them. They're really nice, balanced, and like I said earlier, they're tactical. So they do have the rail system on the front to put a flashlight or a laser or whatever you want to put on it. And then the other thing with them is they don't have a real safety on them. So not a button click safety. It's just a safety on the hand grip and the trigger. And then as far as changing magazines, it's got a nice big button to push to drop the magazines, and then the trigger action
Right.
is real nice. I'd actually say you should go try one of those out, John, before
I will. I will.
modifications.
I would try it. Send me the specs again on that Springfield, and I'll give it a try. I got to tell you, and that one thing though, however, I wanted to say is the only thing that I wouldn't recommend this weapon is for concealed weapons when you have children around. This absolutely doesn't have any kind of safety whatsoever. I mean, it does have one safety, and it's on here. It's on the trigger. It's a little button on the trigger, but it doesn't have the grip, doesn't have the button safety. So a child that has a little bit of strength in their finger can definitely push this one over here. So this is normally not what I take with me if I'm traveling, if I'm driving and I have children in a car and that sort of thing. Okay, just for the safety of for not having any kind of other safety. Okay, but it is the one I like best, to be honest with you. However, I also have another popular one. This one is the NMP 40 Shield. Again, one of the lightest and smallest pistols available in the market today. This puppy over here, as you can see here, doesn't have any bullets, no magazine, but it only carries 7 bullets. It comes with an extended magazine where you have a pinky support right here on this one, and this one carries 7 bullets, but it also comes with a 6 magazine, and I don't think you can put any bigger on these. So the max you can have here is 7 and 8 if you have one on the barrel. You know what I'm saying? So not on the barrel if you have one already inside. I like it. It's very small, very light. You can literally hide this anywhere. And
What is that, a 380?
No, this is a 40.
Oh, no kidding.
It's a 40. It's super tiny, man. Look at this. It's tiny, very slim, incredibly slim.
How much recoil does that thing have?
Brother, let me tell you something. My dad has the 9mm, and I shot with both. Okay? The 40 has less recoil, and I think is more accurate than the 9.
Oh, wow.
Believe me, I couldn't believe it. I had more accuracy. Maybe because I was more used to the 40 recoil. Maybe could have been something in that scenario. But I felt like this one here was a lot more accurate. And as a matter of fact, nothing beats the accuracy of this 9mm here. I tell you that. Okay, But you want to stop a guy, man. I mean, the force of a 40 is you don't require hollow point on this.
You want that in your home just so that if you miss and it goes through a wall, that it
Right.
doesn't hit neighbors.
Right, right. Absolutely. And that's the thing too. This one here in your home, you shoot at somebody, that bullet may definitely travel to your neighbor's house. And that's not the weapon that I would prefer to use as a home defense weapon, but it is my everyday carry. I don't feel like I would need anything more than those 7 bullets to defend myself in case I get robbed or a gunpoint or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you are to the point where you're going to unload 15 rounds at somebody, my man. I mean, really, Jake, how many bullets do you really need to defend yourself? You know what you're doing.
It depends on how dark it is and how quick the person inside your house is moving.
Right, that too, absolutely. And the guy who I trained was that I had tactical training on. This guy definitely told me double tap, shot twice, at least twice. You gotta make sure that guy is down.
Well, what that does is it when you double tap and you hit them twice in the same area, it causes what's called a hydraulic shock, and it causes everything internally in cavities to expand out. You know that you ever play that game Chain Reaction where you hit one
Yep.
thing and then it expands the next thing even bigger? Well,
Right.
the whole reason behind the double tap is to cause hydraulic shock, and that'll put somebody down for a lot longer than if you
A
just
lot longer if you just got one shot. Right. I agree, and I could tell you that again, I never want to shoot somebody, but I am prepared to if they're going to endanger my family. That's for sure.
absolutely. But
Bottom
that's
line.
why, yeah, that's why I go back to the shotgun for home defense is
Absolutely, and it's really quite cheap. I brought one here. It's quite cheap. Um, so
just that sound alone deters people. That'll make somebody leave your house when they hear that.
that alone would do it, wouldn't you say?
That's
That if
the
you were to just do, I mean that's the joke, right? That everybody here in Texas
most
and I know.
intimidating sound in the world.
Yeah. Absolutely. Even my dog got scared. Absolutely. No, I've shot a few rounds with this thing here. It's quite powerful. But would you say this is the ideal weapon perhaps for your wife to use?
Well, mine is because mine's a semi-automatic 12 gauge, so it absorbs the recoil on fire, and she could pull the trigger up to 5 times on it before she runs out of bullets. Without
Before she runs out of bullets. Right.
yeah,
Yeah, this one is pump action all the time. You know what I mean? And I got to tell you, my wife, I don't think can handle the power of this shotgun. You know, she would have to be trained and quite a bit before she was able to use this. You know,
right.
so that's something you want to think about it too. Like if you're going to carry weapons, I feel like everyone in your home needs to be trained and how to use these weapons and know which your go-to weapon to go to. I'm pretty sure that my wife, she's so skinny, she'll use one of these. This thing will drop her on the ground for sure. You know what I'm saying? But hold on. But there are, and I'm going to share the screen again. Some individuals here that say AR is what they like using. Look at this guy, Frank Proctor, retired Army Special Forces. He chooses an AR-15 for his home defense.
Well,
I
this
mean,
if you take a look at it though, retired Army Special Forces, he's been trained to shoot in low lit environments, and
yep,
as far as that AR-15, the M16 or M4, whatever he's used to carrying as special forces. I mean, that's just years and years of muscle memory and retention and training to be able to spot that shadowy figure out of everything else in the house.
Right. I do agree with you on that. As a matter of fact, I I have an AR-15, and I don't feel like it would be my preferred weapon to use inside my house. I mean, at least the size of my rifle is, it's just, if I'm in a tight spot, this is not going to be ideal for you, unless you really know what you're doing with it. But of
Yeah.
course, if we're having, if we having uh, some kind of civil war going on outside my house, maybe this could be the right one to be
Right.
with it.
And then it comes down to, okay, well, are there home defense rounds for an AR-15? I don't know, because personally, I don't own an AR-15. So I do know though that AR-15 rounds travel far. So in the Marine Corps, I mean, when we did our rifle qualifications, we were shooting iron sights from 500 yards at a regular body size target. So
Right. Well, this is what they look like. This puppy here will definitely travel between one house to the other.
yeah, it'll keep going after that.
This is what Jake is saying here. So if you're going to use one of these bullets over here to defend your home, you're likely going to kill your neighbor in the process or their children. You just never know, guys. So you have to be really careful when choosing weapons. I'm going to show you here real quick. I'm adjust the camera here so everybody can see it. And this is what everybody's making a fuss about out there, but I just had to have one before they take it away from people. Absolutely. So this is nothing too special, really. It's a 223. It's a NATO, right? So it fits also a 5.53 here, if I'm not mistaken, a 5.56. I'm sorry. It will fit here as well. Yeah. I mean, it can be shortened a little bit, have a little bit more action on it. Of course, there is no bullets in here. Man, I mean, this thing here is a very accurate weapon. Like, it's incredible how accurate this thing is, especially if you're using a dotted scope. Man, this thing here will get the target you're looking for. But their chances are you got to be thinking about what's behind that target.
Right.
Right? I mean, dude, this you're going to war with this in a way. Um, but Jake, what's your take about, you know, Illinois just this morning announced that by 2024 everybody's going to have background check for weaponry.
I heard that. So there's two different takes to it. There's the way that I guess the state wants it to appear as, oh, this is a common sense thing that, okay, well, enhanced background checks on everything. But one of the things that I saw, actually a buddy of mine sent it to me last night, and he's in Texas. He was making fun of me. But it was, so if you're in an unstable mental health situation, you can get your FOID card. So FOID card is firearm owner or identification. So if you don't have a FOID card, you cannot own a pistol, a handgun, no guns in the state of Illinois without this card, which violates constitutional rights, but
Right.
you need to have one. And well, I like shooting guns, so I went and got one. But anyways, with this new regulation, apparently if you piss your neighbor off, they can report you as being mentally unstable and the state can come and take your weapon.
All it
doesn't-
takes is one neighbor.
Yeah. Yeah, according to what I saw last night. Now, it might not be that cut and dry. I don't know. We'll see what happens with it, but it's not rolling out until 2024. So still got some times to accumulate some weapons between now and then,
Right.
having to go through advanced background check.
Right.
But
Right.
there's going to be all kinds of different databases for people who shouldn't own firearms and people that do. But guess what? They say that it's going to be on private sales as well. So if I sold my I sold my handgun to my neighbor, I'd have to do a background check on him
You would
before.
have to do a background check on him as well. Well,
Yeah.
did you hear what happened here recently with state of Texas? Last week, no, last month. Forgive me. Last month, or was it the month prior? I'll show it to you, man. Hold on a second. Look at this. Look at this. This is by the Texas Tribune. Texans can carry handguns without a license or training starting September 1st.
So you guys have open carry?
Completely. Right now, I do have an open carry license, period. I'm not going to get away from, I started with the concealed weapons license, which I had, and then they converted that to open carry. Okay.
Huh.
So
Okay.
I'm still going to have it because this is only Texas. If I want to drive out of state, there's plenty of states that are still going to recognize my license, my permits. You know what I'm saying? So
Unless
and
if you go to the state of Illinois, who only recognizes.
yeah. You don't recognize anything. Illinois and New Jersey, forget about it, right?
Yeah.
It won't. It won't.
Yeah, you
But
guys just want to stay out of here. There's nothing good in this state anyway. Rated. Plus, we're
there you go.
putting
Look.
folks now
So
anyway.
could you imagine anybody can? I mean, at least you're 18 years old. You don't know if you have any mental issues. They're not doing background checks. You can get a weapon without any license or permits. And look at that. Look, this is my the photo they chose. I guess my shield is pretty popular, but this is a 9 9 millimeter. This is what my dad has right over here. But could you imagine a situation where anybody in anyone can choose to carry a weapon
Well,
at any time?
is it a
Open carry.
federal law that felons can't carry weapons? Any,
I don't know how that
because I
applies to
know,
felons, man.
yeah, I know in the state of Illinois, if you're a convicted felon, you can't have any firearms. I don't
There
know,
you go.
federal level or state level.
I don't think a felon. If I mean, it depends what kind of felony you had. Was it because you carried a
No, it's
weapon
any
or
felony. If
any felony?
you're a felon, you can't have firearms.
I mean, I know some pretty cool guys that they lived their most of their lives without crimes, but you got one incident that he did something wrong, got a felony.
Well, you know how life goes, man. You can be the best person for, like you said, all of your life, but you make
One,
it for 2 seconds or however long it takes you. Guess what? That's what you're labeled for the rest of your life, and
that's right. That's
that's
what happens with sex offenders. You get caught pissing on the road.
I
Just
think that's
all
indecent
you're doing.
exposure. It depends on who sees you, I think.
I mean, but could you imagine you piss on the side of the road for whatever reason? Somebody calls a cop on you and says, you're pissing, you're exposing yourself, sex harassment. Now you're a sex offender. What do you think is going to happen with Governor Cuomo? Is he going to be a sex offender? He's going to have to post it in front of his house. I'm a sex offender.
I don't know what's going to happen with Cuomo and his whole thing. I mean, I I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know the laws that well.
That's
I
right.
know that as far as political office, whatever he did to piss off his political party, guess what? He's barred from practicing politics from here on out. He
I
can
agree.
as much as he wants, but the opposing party isn't going to take him, and his current party certainly is not going to want him back.
That's right. I wouldn't want it either. I think if I'm going to share my opinion, is he should have stepped out immediately when this whole thing started. Every case of sex harassment that are coming towards these public figures, man, I feel like they're well thought out. They even wait until you're like exposed on camera all the time, like he was through COVID. I mean, they were looking at his face every day and they're like, you know what, this guy, we're gonna get him.
Yeah.
You know, the perfect target. He made himself the perfect
Yeah.
target, right?
Yeah. Hey, the reputation is everything. Once you cast any doubt on it, well, consider whatever career path you're on over, because there's no coming back from a reputation hit most of the time.
That's right. Yeah, and that you need to think twice before you become a public figure,
Yeah.
because you're definitely going to be exposed to all kinds of scrutiny and life
Right.
investigations, things that
And to
you've
tie
done.
that, yeah, to tie that back into firearms, I mean, that's why you have to be very careful about the guns and ammo you choose to use to defend your home, because even if you're in the right and you strike your neighbor, and let's say you get off with probation, house arrest, whatever it may be, well, your rights that you knew them as prior to that are going to go away, because number one, people aren't going to look at you as the individual protecting your home. They're going to look at you as the irresponsible individual that killed your neighbor. Number one. Number two, just depending on if it's a misdemeanor or a felony that you get hit with, probably reckless endangerment of some sort.
Right.
Um,
Manslaughter, right?
yeah, yeah, involuntary manslaughter.
Involuntary manslaughter is usually the
Yeah,
one. And
yeah,
that usually happens with those guys that try to become heroes and they go to, like, for instance, they see maybe a gas station being robbed at gunpoint, and you come from behind that guy and end up having to shoot him. But in that process of shooting the perpetrator or the criminal, you end up shooting the clerk at the same time. Now, yeah, you were defending, you were becoming a hero, but all of a sudden you were not anymore. You're involuntary manslaughter of that clerk. You were trying to be a hero. You had the greatest intention in the world, and you failed. Another thing that happens a lot of times, Jake, is, and I don't want to, you know, by no means influence anybody to shoot anybody or kill. That's not what we're talking about here. But in those instances, where we're not attorneys in any way, in any capacity to advise you legally of anything. But I know for a fact that if you're going to shoot somebody, you can very much be, even if you were on the right defending your life, you can be sued. If I'm not mistaken, you can be sued for what is it? For let's just say you paralyze the guy or you shoot them in the leg. He can't walk straight again. You can be sued, even though he's guilty. He's being arrested also, but you are getting in trouble for damaging this guy's leg for the rest of his life. You know what I mean? So,
all I know is dead men tell no tales.
well, there you go. Well, that's what I hear all the time. And I didn't want to quite say it myself because I don't know how much scrutiny and criticism we're going to get by saying something like that, Jake. But I know that here in Texas, it does feel like everybody is sort of waiting for that one opportunity. Yeah, just break into my house to see what's going to happen to you. Don't
Yeah.
mess with Texas, man. I tell you that.
Exactly. So getting back to the security systems and doorbell cameras and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So if you're going to get a wireless security system or those fancy Ring doorbell cameras to monitor your home for intrusion detection, make sure to read the fine print on those, because there are settings in them that enable law enforcement to access your cameras without your consent.
Look at that.
As far as wireless, if they're misconfigured and somebody's technically savvy, they can access your camera system. And if you have cameras inside your home, they might even be able to case your house from outside without having to go into it. So, I mean, like,
Good point.
personally, I have power over Ethernet cameras, so they're just your regular cable, just single cable, and I have two at each corner of my house. as John touched on, 34% of the time, the front door is what is accessed. But with mine, I mean, I have it on all corners. So they look up in the corner, they'll see 2 cameras in every corner of my house. So
Right. So it doesn't matter where he's coming, in which direction, you're going to catch him in some way. And honestly, in that point of view, I must say that 9 out of 10, you are putting in wireless camera because that's the easiest way to do it.
right.
And but however, it is like they're becoming better and better every day. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think they're the most reliable. It's that situation where when you most needed that camera, you're out of battery on that wireless thing, or your wireless internet went down.
And if,
And I'm a firm believer that wired cameras are much better, not only in being the most reliable, but also having more accuracy as well. The last thing you want is a blurry camera, and you can tell how old how tall the person is. You can see what color their skin is. You know what I'm saying? But you're not going to be able to see their face with
right.
some of
And the
these
other
cameras.
thing, yeah, the other thing about the wireless cameras that they won't tell you. So you could get wireless cameras, but a lot of times what they'll do is they'll come with really janky backup for it. So like an NVR system, they'll give you 16 gigs. I know this for one of the brands anyways. My mom just put these wireless cameras on her house. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're better than nothing, but
Right.
um, as far as like they only record when there's motion detected. That's if motion is detected, because with the particular brand that she's got, it's really weak. Like you have to be standing directly in front of that camera. If you're more than 10 feet away, it doesn't detect motion. So as far as that goes, they're pretty lacking. But if you do choose to go with wireless, make sure that you have your own NVR system. So like the DVR that's in your TV, the thing that records everything, or hard
Right.
drive computer. Make sure that you have one that you can record everything to, or else
You
they're
have your own hard drive in there instead of
yeah,
going to some cloud thing or
yeah,
whatever.
they'll make you sign up for the cloud to get your data. And then the other thing is, make sure to spend the extra money and get solar panels for those cameras so that they stay constantly charged.
There you go.
Not gigantic solar panels or tiny solar panels, but I think you could get 3 or 4 of them for under $60 now. So as far as the solar panel charging, I don't know how long the solar panels last. They do come from China, so they could last 30 years.
So then they're not meant to last very long, man.
Right. Yeah. So like my security system, it's all wired and it records everything. I have a 3 terabyte hard drive, and it's actually segmented from the rest of my network. So you need to know the IP address for the NVR to get into the cameras themselves. And you also need another password. So that in and of itself, it saves from somebody trying to access security cameras. It adds another layer of defense.
Right.
Um,
So let's go a few rounds. Okay, so uh, should you have a camera in your home, Jake?
I say yes.
Should you have alarm system in your home?
Um, I don't have one in my home, but you probably should. It's probably a good idea. And
Okay. Should we have weapons for home defense?
I say yes, because
Okay.
in portions of home invasions, basically your alarm system and your camera system, those are intrusion detection systems. Your weapons, your dogs, whatever you have, that's an intrusion prevention system. So whether they're trying to intrude on you personally, physically, causing you harm, or into your house, I mean, obviously you don't want to shoot somebody until they get into your house.
Or if they, it becomes a life-threatening situation as well,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Right. Because shooting somebody, by the way, without being able to prove that you were threatened, your life was threatened, that could get you in trouble as well.
Like I said, dead men tell no tales.
That Mel don't tell no tales.
Um,
Very good, very good.
yes,
Well,
that
Jake,
was
man,
that was a joke. But yes, I say yes to all three because guess what? Crime is not selective to where you live. It's basically, as we discussed and alluded to, it's about opportunity, and opportunity could strike itself anywhere. Just because you live in a gated community doesn't mean your house is going to get robbed, because guess what? Those gates get left open quite often.
right,
Um, just because you're in an affluent community, hey, you're at more risk because you have more things to take.
right.
So, and
So what, I mean, but the lessons we learn here, I think today, is the don't make yourself a target either, right? Just I think that's a primary thing. A lot of people just don't think about where they are making themselves targets. They just want to look like they own the world and they're queens and kings, and their pockets are way too deep for anything to happen to you. And then most of the times you're just full of shit. You don't have anything. All you know what I'm saying? But you
yeah,
attract,
yeah,
but
all,
you
all
attract,
the
you
all the rich
attract
people
somebody to
are,
your house.
yeah, all the rich people are walking around in ragged clothes and
That's that's pretty much true. I look, the all my friends that really have deep pockets, you would not give them a cent if you look at them during the day. That's it. The only tells usually when they wear a nice watch, that's when you kind of can get it a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they pull up on his favorite car, in his sport car or something like that. Then you can tell. But if you're just sitting at a restaurant, you look at them, they don't look like they have $1 million in their pocket. No.
exactly. Be unassuming, blend in.
Blend in, be unassuming is the way to go, guys. And watch over your rear view mirrors, before you coming home, especially after you leave the supermarket. I tell you that I can't stress how important it is for you to be at all times being cautious with your surrounding. And that's what a lot of the wives are lacking. A lot of the husbands are lacking. I don't want to say it's just women. It is guys do that too. And then often enough, you make yourself a target.
Yeah.
And we're here to bring you as much as information as possible. I'll be answering questions here towards the end. But there you have it, Jake. Thank you. Thanks
All
for
right.
showing up today, man, and making this show even better than it was before. I thought I was going to do this by myself. So you stepping up and then join me, I really appreciate it, man.
Oh,
Thank
no
you.
problem. Thanks for the invite. And yeah, I really appreciate it. It was good talking to you and all of your fans.
I appreciate it, Jake. It was really a joyful show, and it's been a while. We haven't seen each other, and I think this is going to stay in our memories. And I appreciate it so much for showing by, man. I have to call it quits for this show.
Before
But
you
hey,
call it quits, I have one more important thing. This is the most important thing to not get your house robbed. All of that social media garbage, I mean, I don't have any of it, so I I'll call it that. I mean, there are uses for it professionally. I don't have them, but don't go ahead and post your trips on your Facebooks or anything else until you get home. Because when you're on vacation, Snapchatting, live doing, WhatsApping, whatever the hell it is, people know you're gone and they're going to come take your shit.
very good. Very
So,
true.
yeah,
That's
just
a great point. And a lot of people do that. They're like, snappy shoulders, look where I'm at right now. And then everybody, okay, well, they're not home. pretty much. They're not home.
So with that, I'm going to jump off. Thanks again for the invite. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Jake. I really appreciate you coming over, man. Thank you.
All right, cool, man.
Thank you.
Yep.
Well, there you have it, guys. Like I said to you, everything in this platform here is for real estate. Yes, we talk about weapons and home defense. Well, everything kind of ties in together, right? And I do appreciate your support. I'm always here open to answer questions. I'm always here to entertain you in any way I can possibly can, okay? And just don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm going to be posting here in the description here pretty soon, where you can have access to all my social media if you like to follow me where I'm at in Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, whatever. Even my professional web pages are there if you're interested in your local and you want to invest in a home. Any questions that you may have about real estate, even if you're not in the state of Texas, please give me a call, man. I'm never too shy. My number is 832-304-3607. Yeah, it's on YouTube. So anybody in the world can give me a call. Oh my God, all the spam that I'm going to get after this. Well, AT&T is doing a great job by identifying spam numbers. Very good call, right? Very good. Anyways, tune in to me at any time. Subscribe, put a like, a comment, and tune in next week for our next Your Real Estate Live Talk show every day, every Wednesday at noon. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed the show. I really do. Thank you. And